Part 11. Lord, spend tens of billions of Krypton gold and sign into the God-level arms. Author, Bathing in the Breeze. Chapter 101. At this moment in the Xiongnu King city, many Xiongnu lords gathered together. Everyone was waiting for news about Lu Jing crossing the demon grassland. One of the Han lords drank the strong wine in his cup and laughed loudly. How long has it been? The Shenhan's troops should have arrived at the demon grassland by now. Calculate the time, it should be here soon. GGG, it's such a pity that we can't see the embarrassment of those divine lords right away. There are 10 first-level monsters in the demonic grassland. The mighty army of the divine Han will definitely alarm those first-level monsters. Ha ha ha, I don't know how many soldiers those monsters can chew up in the army of divine men. Many Xiongnu lords did not take Shenhan's troops seriously at all. Even their men whose side are extremely cautious when facing the demonic grassland. If they hadn't found a safe path, it would have been impossible to cross the demon grassland. Because of this, they were absolutely sure that the Shenhan troops would have to pay a heavy price if they wanted to cross the demon grassland. At this moment, there was a loud noise outside. The demons come to the grassland to report. For a time, the Han lords in the tavern couldn't help but squeeze out of the tavern. Many lords who had been anticipating the news gathered on the road, crowding the entire royal city's roads. The barbarian cavalryman who was responsible for delivering the news couldn't help but feel a little thump in his heart when he looked at the crowd of lords around him. How is the situation over there in the demonic grassland? What else can we do? Those monster beasts must be full. Ha ha ha, you're right. The monsters in the monster grassland are probably eating a buffet for the first time in so many years. I just don't know how many troops Shenhan lost. No matter how many he has left, just kill them all. After all, they are all war points. That's right. To the barbarian lords, the army of divine men was a huge war point. They are also short of resources, and having war points can solve the problem of resource shortage. At this time, the barbarian cavalry opened the information in his hand and read it out word by word. The army of divine men has passed through the demonic grassland, and all the monsters in the demonic grassland have been killed. No one in the Shenhan army was injured, and the total size of the entire army has reached 500,000. Please all the lords in the Xiongnu royal city be prepared for protection and prepare for the arrival of the Shenhan troops. After saying that, the barbarian cavalry quickly threw the information on the ground and immediately disappeared into the crowd. Many Han lords froze in place, as if they were dreaming. What's the situation? All the monsters in the monster grassland were killed? What about those first-grade monsters? Killed too? The key is that there were no casualties in the army of divine men? How did they do that? That is the demon grassland that they regard as a forbidden land. Are you kidding? There are so many first-class monsters in the monster grassland, how can they survive unharmed? That barbarian cavalryman is a spy from the Han royal city. How could he possibly be making fun of us? Are the Shenhan people so powerful? Can they kill first-level monsters? Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a loud noise outside the city. Immediately afterwards, the smoke from the city tower rose, and all the Han lords stared wide-eyed. What's the situation? There is an enemy attack. At this time, the only people who could attack the Xiongnu royal city were the army of Shenhan. Are they calling now? Boom. At this moment, a blood-red figure appeared on the city wall, and a voice containing true energy spread directly to the entire city of the Huns. I am Qianlong Kuangmachao, who dares to fight with me? Kuang Macao directly raised his spear and started killing everyone on the city wall. At this moment, many Han lords reacted immediately and quickly gathered under the city wall to prepare for defense. Unexpectedly, when they first arrived at the city wall, there was a muffled sound from the city gate. Boom. 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 It seemed as if something huge was hitting the city gate one blow after another. Immediately afterwards, Amolubu's voice came from the city gate. "Smash it for me. Break." With a loud noise, the city gate was directly broken open by Moribuledin. The huge impact caused many Hun soldiers defending behind the city gate to fly backwards. Amolubuledin was holding Fang Tian's painted halberd, and his whole body was shrouded in black devilish energy. When the city gate opened, Molubuledin saw many Hun lords, and a strange smile appeared on his lips. "Kill." The next second, Moribuledin exerted force under his feet, and he was like a cannonball, directly attacking one of the Hun lords. Looking at the city walls and city gates, Kuang Ma Chao, Amolubuledin and Ma Dianwei continued to massacre the many barbarians in the Xianlu King city. Lu Jing glanced at the three people on the city wall, and then waved his hand. "The next target is King Wuhang city." The many divine lords following Lu Jin were immediately stunned. "What's the situation?" Before the Xianlu King city was captured, Lu Jin was already preparing to head to Wuhang King city. "Don't you care about this city of the Huns?" "Boss Lu Jin, the Xianlu King city has not been captured yet. Are you a little anxious to go to the Wuhang King city now?" Bei Mingxiu from Liangzhou couldn't help but ask Lu Jin. When Lu Jin heard this question, he looked at Bei Mingxiu with confusion. "Isn't this already captured? Can't three people take down a Hun royal city?" As soon as these words came out, Bei Mingxiu seemed to recall the scene of her original exchange with Lu Jin. "It is enough for two people to take down Yanmen Pass." When Bei Mingxiu thought of this, she suddenly felt that she had underestimated Lu Jin too much. "He is Lu Jin, the #1 divine man. I didn't think well enough." Lu Jin touched his chin, then looked at Bei Mingxiu. "Don't worry, I have left mounts for the three of them. After they capture the Hun King city, they will soon catch up with our large army. Time is running out, we must hurry up and capture the entire Manhu." With that said, Lu Jin continued to move his army towards the direction of Wuhang King city. When he opened the map, what was in front of Lu Jin was the forbidden area high-temperature desert between the Xianlu clan and King Wuhang city. High-temperature desert, as the name suggests, is a desert with extremely high temperatures. The temperature in the desert can reach as high as 80 degrees Celsius during the day, and at night it can drop to below zero. Moreover, sandstorms often blow in the high-temperature desert. Once trapped in a sandstorm, even warriors will be swallowed up by the sandstorm and eventually get lost in the desert. Of course, the barbarian lords can also choose to bypass the high-temperature desert. But in this case, it will take at least an extra week to get from the Xianlu King city to the Wuhang King city. Lu Jin's time was precious, and he didn't want to spend too much time on the northern expedition of barbarians. "Lord, spend tens of billions of Krypton gold and sign into the god-level arms." Author, Bathing in the Breeze. Chapter 102. The Qianlong town army immediately turned around and headed towards Wuhang King city. The many barbarian lords in the Xianlu King city couldn't help but murmur in their hearts when they saw the army beginning to change direction. "What's the situation?" "The city wall has been occupied by divine men, and the city gate was shattered by the monster's blow. In this case, the divine man actually chose to leave directly. Do they think they can capture the entire Hun city by leaving only 3 people behind? Damn it! Although the offensive of the Shenhan is extremely fierce, just leaving 3 people to try to take us down would be looking down on us too much. Although I admit that they are very strong, they are too underestimated. Do you really think that we are all stupid? Seniors can be killed but not humiliated. The soldiers will charge with me and let those divine Han people see the blood of our barbarian Huns. Come on. You must not let others look down upon you. Kill. Just 3 people, how dare they be so arrogant in the face of the hundreds of thousands of defenders of our Hun royal city." For a moment, many barbarian lords led their soldiers to kill Moribuledin directly. When Malibuleddin saw the people surrounding him, instead of showing the slightest fear, he showed an extremely excited smile. Huh, instead of running away, did you gather together and rush towards me? Yes, I admire your courage. But as weaklings, your courage is nothing but a joke to me. In an instant, Molibu was enveloped in demonic aura, and his dharma was condensed. A giant stood at the city gate, holding a fanged yen painted halberd, and the pressure it exuded was like divine punishment. The barbarian lords who were still charging immediately stayed where they were. Walk. Super First Class. WTF. Super First Class General. Why are you standing there so dumbfounded? Run. When Malibuleddin showed his strength as a first-class general, everyone no longer had the desire to resist. For a moment, Molibu jumped up and struck down Fang Tian's painted halberd in his hand. Boom! With a loud noise, the entire Xiongnu city was shaken. At this moment, the system notification sounded. System announcement: the Xiongnu royal city in the Manhu area has been breached, and the Xiongnu clan area will be owned by Shenhan. System announcement: congratulations to Shenhan Qianlong Town for successfully breaking through Manhu's Honglu King City, and hereby reward the golden legendary conquest treasure box. After seeing this system announcement, all the barbarian lords immediately thought they were dazzled. What's the situation? From the time the Shenhan army started to the present, not even half a day has passed. In less than half a day, the Xiongnu clan was wiped out. Lu Jin, who was on the march, took out the golden legendary conquest chest. Ding, do you want to spend 50,000 gold coins to upgrade the golden legendary conquest chest to the golden legendary Hun treasure chest? Upgrade. Lu Jin decisively upgraded the treasure box to 1 level. After upgrading, Lu Jin opened the treasure chest again. Ding, congratulations on getting the only special building Silk Road. Ding, congratulations on getting the golden legendary gift pack Super Resource gift pack. Ding, congratulations on getting the golden legendary prop portable nutrition bag. Lu Jin didn't expect that he would actually build a unique special building. Opening his backpack, Lu Jin checked the specific attributes of the Silk Road. When he saw this attribute panel, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but raise slightly. It seems like even Lady Luck is on my side. Name: Silk Road. Level: First Class Special Building. Effect 1. Marching acceleration: all your own troops walking on the Silk Road will receive a 100% marching speed bonus, and other forces will have no bonus when walking. Effect 2. Perfect road: no matter how bad the road surroundings are, it can't damage the integrity of the Silk Road. Effect 3. It will be unlocked after the total length of the road reaches 10,000 kilometers. Materials required to build 1 kilometer of Silk Road: 100 units of jade, 100 units of refined iron, 100 units of stone, 100 units of soil. At this time, the large army came directly to the edge of the high-temperature desert. Looking around, the barren desert exudes an amazing heat wave. Just standing here, you can feel the high temperature brought by the hot desert. At this time, Yao Daji and Shenzuj came to Lu Jin's side. Lord, what should we do next? Want to continue the march? No. Originally, Lu Jin planned to directly cross the entire high-temperature desert and then go directly to Wuhan King City. But now, he has changed his mind. As the saying goes, if you want to get rich, build the road first. Now that he already has the special building of the Silk Road in his hands, his first priority is to build the road first. Let the army camp here and rest for a day. Camp and rest? Although they were a little confused as to why Lu Jin was acting like this, Shenzuj and Yao Daji still passed on Lu Jin's news to the three armies. The three armies began to set up camp, and the accompanying lords of the gods were a little puzzled. What's the situation? Why did you start camping in place? In this situation, Shouldn't we take advantage of the victory and head to Wuhan King City immediately? Could it be that the high temperature in the high temperature desert is too difficult, and Lu Jin plans to wait until the temperature is low before setting off? Just when many Shenhan lords were confused, Bei Mingxiu, Yu Fengxiu and others discovered that Lu Jin had disappeared. Have you found Mr. Lu Jin? No. It's strange. The army suddenly camped on the same spot. Could it be the arrangement of Mr. Lu Jin? It's no wonder that Mr. Lu Jin does this for a reason. Why don't we take advantage of the fact that the army is camped where it is and we go to the king city of the Huns to fight the autumn wind? I agree. On the other side, Lu Jin returned directly to Qianlong town and found Lu Ban directly. Originally, Lu Ban was still planning the development blueprint for Qianlong town, but Lu Jin's sudden appearance shocked him. Oh, my lord, you are so elusive, you are scaring me to death. There's no time to explain. You call all the craftsmen in Qianlong town immediately. There is a big project waiting for you. What big project? Lu Ban scratched his head. The biggest project he had ever taken over in his life was the development plan of Qianlong town. Unexpectedly, when Lu Jin put the Silk Road construction plan in front of Lu Ban's eyes widened. My lord, are you kidding me? Do you think I'm joking? If the Silk Road connecting the entire Shenhan and barbarians is built, it will be called a miracle in the world. Just asking you, can you do it? My lord, you underestimate me too much. I'll take this job. Lu Ban knew very well that once the Silk Road spanning thousands of miles was built, the entire Shenhan and barbarian population will be completely controlled by Qianlong town. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord, spend tens of billions of Krypton gold and sign into the god-level arms. Author, Bathing in the Breeze. Chapter 103. The royal city of the Xiongnu was occupied, and the territory of the Xiongnu clan was completely annexed by the Shenhan. This news spread quickly throughout the whole Barhu like the wind. For a time, many of the barbarian Hu clan who had originally dismissed Lu Jin couldn't help but face up to this sudden enemy. Nanmanzu-san, what's going on? Did the Huns region fall like this? Zirn Lisihan, haha, who said you would help us guard the gate of the barbarian area? Dong Ihi Liogui, the lords of the Xiongnu region are too rubbish, they simply embarrass us barbarians. Huntwa Bahishan, how dare you scold me again? If you have the ability, come and guard it. Nanmanzu-san, stop shouting, why don't you guess where we are now? On a certain grassland, many barbarian lords gathered together. If you observe carefully, you can find that any barbarian lord who can come here must be followed by military commanders and counselors. This shows that these barbarian lords can be regarded as outstanding ones even among many lords. Now, they are all gathered in a makeshift camp. Around the camp, several guards with the aura of third-grade warriors guarded the camp very vigilantly. Being able to have a third-grade warrior as a guard means that the person this camp will welcome must be a very noble being in the entire barbarian. I didn't expect that the 5 strongest clans would actually get together. What are the 5 strongest clans? Isn't the strongest among them still the southern barbarians? Haha, the southern barbarians are the strongest? Then why hasn't he conquered the other 4 clans yet? If you ask me, the strongest one has to be Baidi. Stop quarreling. Now that the army of gods and men are killing each other, and the 5 clans have united to discuss countermeasures, you are quarreling. Many barbarian lords glanced at each other, their eyes full of dissatisfaction. A man-who soldier hiding in the dark glanced at the barbarian lord who just broke out into a quarrel, and couldn't help but sneer in his heart. Haha, it looks like the interior of man who is indeed in chaos as the rumors say. This person is the Black Guard disguised as a barbarian soldier. Hearing that there was a big move inside Manhu, The black guard also took advantage of this to sneak into the camp. At this moment, the black guard suddenly noticed a line of sight falling on him. A first-grade warrior? Black guard suddenly became vigilant. After retracting his gaze, he began to look for the gaze that fell on him. Not far away, a woman with a hot figure and scantily clad clothes strolled up to black guard. Oh! The young man is pretty good. I wonder which of his soldiers he is. I am a soldier under Chief Yao. Black guard answered respectfully, playing his role without leaking any information. At this time, a rough-looking Nanman lord hugged the woman. What's wrong, ma'am? It doesn't matter. I see a guard who has some strength and want to recruit him. Ha ha ha, madam, just ask for whatever you like. If you don't want it, I'll get it. As he said that, the Nanman lord grabbed black guard's shoulder. You will be my wife's bodyguard from now on. Just when the black guards were in trouble, a Dong Ai man appeared behind the Nanman lord. Ha ha, Meng Huo, you are so domineering. Do you want my guards at your request? What's wrong? We're going to higher ground. Our southern barbarians have strong soldiers and horses. We are the strongest among all the clans. He came to me and I wronged him. Oh? Haven't you heard that King Mulu of the southern barbarians attacked Yanmen Pass some time ago and was killed to pieces? Is this really true? If it is true, then the Nanman's strength is nothing more than this. Hearing these words, Meng Huo suddenly became furious. But just when he was about to get angry, a young man wearing animal skin suddenly walked out of the tent. Meng Huo and others who were noisy at first fell silent when they saw the man in animal skin. Humph, now that we are facing a formidable enemy, you actually still have the heart to quarrel. When everyone saw this, they all said respectfully to the animal skin man in front of them. I've seen the goshawk shaman. Blackguard glanced at the man in animal skin, and couldn't help but feel a little thump in his heart. A super first-level master. Unexpectedly, I could see the bearded shaman so close. The goshawk shaman glanced at the barbarian lord present and snorted coldly. The force that declared war first this time is an alien lord from Shenhan. Alien lord? Hearing this, Meng Huo and others looked down upon him. After all, in their eyes, these alien lords are just slaves that they can drive at will. So after hearing the identity of the declarer, Meng Huo and others were naturally a little disdainful. Seeing the looks on Meng Huo's and others' faces, Lord Goshawk shook his head with some hatred. I can tell you a piece of news. This alien lord is a dragon energy possessor. And the amount of divine Han dragon chi in this person has even reached an extremely terrifying level. Because of this, my goshawk eyes cannot spy on the army of divine men. Dragon spirit? Upon hearing these two words, Meng Huo and others' eyes lit up, as if they had seen some rare treasure. Before the goshawk shaman could continue speaking, they expressed their opinions quickly. What if the Han people have dragon energy? As long as they dare to come, we will kill them all. That's right. Our combined troops number in the millions, but we still can't annihilate the troops of an alien lord. Ahem, I think now we should put aside our old grudges and join forces to expel the Han people from our territory first. I think it should be the same. Goshawk shaman frowned and couldn't help but curse secretly in his heart. What a bunch of idiots. These guys only heard the first half of his words, but didn't listen to the second half at all. But that's fine. Since these idiots were in a hurry to touch porcelain, I didn't bother to remind them. It's just a test. If this Han Lord really doesn't have any great abilities, I wouldn't mind completely plundering the divine Han Dragon Chi. The barbarian lords around him couldn't help but gasp when they heard the presence of the divine dragon energy. You know, as an area without dragon energy, they know the importance of dragon energy. Many barbarian lords rubbed their hands impatiently. If they can obtain dragon energy, they can get rid of this situation. Outside the camp, Blackguard quietly came to a corner. After making sure that no one was around, he immediately took out the information from his arms. Transfer the information here to the Lord immediately. Clear. Suddenly a black guard appeared and immediately disappeared after receiving the information. The black guard from before was once again hidden among the guards, looking ordinary. Lord, spend tens of billions of Krypton gold and sign into the God-level arms. Author, Bathing in the Breeze. Chapter 104. The news delivered by the black guard was quickly delivered to Lu Jin's hands. Lu Jin looked at the information in his hand and couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth slightly. Oh! The 5 strongest clans of barbarian who actually want to unite and strangle themselves in Wuhan King City? It's wonderful that they actually joined forces. This saves Lu Jin from having to find them one after another. As he waved his hand, the intelligence paper in Lu Jin's hand was shattered by a bolt of lightning and turned into ashes and dissipated in the air. Lu Jin looked at the people in front of him. Lu Ban led the team, and a large number of craftsmen gathered together. They started from Qianlong town and began to pave the long Silk Road. All the way to Yanmen Pass, all the way to the Xiongnu city, all the way to the high-temperature desert. Ding! Do you want to spend 1 million gold coins to immediately complete the construction of the Silk Road from Sheneng Valley to Yanmen Pass? Ding! Do you want to spend 1 million gold coins to immediately complete the construction of the Silk Road from Yanmen Pass to the King City of the Huns? Ding! Do you want to spend 1 million gold coins to immediately complete the construction of the Silk Road from the Hun Royal City to the high-temperature desert? In just 3 days, with the help of many craftsmen in Qianlong town, the Silk Road was paved directly from Sheneng Valley to the high-temperature desert. The 1,000 miles of Silk Road is a miracle. The craftsmen only need to prepare the materials, and then leave it to Lu Jin's money-making ability. Use gold coins to complete the construction work immediately, and the materials will turn into beautiful roads almost instantly. In the military camp in front of the hot desert, Shenzhou and Yao Daji watched the Silk Road appear in front of them and couldn't help but gasp. It turns out that during the 3 days since my lord disappeared, he was actually paving roads. Shenzhou stepped on the Silk Road and suddenly felt that the ground under his feet was much solid. Compared with the lowest land full of loose yellow sand, the Silk Road clearly makes people feel what it means to be down to earth. Not only that, after Yao Daji stepped into the Silk Road, she could clearly feel that an invisible force seemed to envelope both sides of the Silk Road. The wind and sand that originally roared all over the sky seemed to be isolated by something after touching the area surrounding the Silk Road, and directly crossed the Silk Road. Standing within the confines of the Silk Road, they could not even feel the howling wind and sand from the outside world. Amazing! It's amazing! If our troops walk on this road, they won't be hindered by the wind and sand. If there is such a magical road in the hot desert full of yellow sand, then the marching speed of our troops can be increased by at least twice. Not only that, with this road, our food and grass supplies can also be supplied in time. Many Shenhan lords nearby couldn't help but feel horrified when they heard Shenzhou and Yao Daji praising the Silk Road so much. The importance of roads goes without saying. A good road can greatly shorten the distance between cities. When the distance between various regions is shortened, both management and trade will become extremely easy. Unexpectedly, Lu Jin created such a huge miracle in just 3 days. At this time, Yu Fengxiu approached the Silk Road. Just when he was about to set foot on the Silk Road, he suddenly turned around and appeared directly on the other side of the Silk Road. What's the situation? Other Shenhan lords stepped forward one after another and found that their figures passed directly through the Silk Road. This discovery directly caused the divine lords to take a breath of air. Why don't we have a way to step into the confines of this path? Can this road only be used by people in Qianlong town? However, this effect is too overbearing. Others cannot even touch the existence within the road range. Invincible. Once Mr. Lu Jin makes a move, it will definitely be a masterpiece. At this moment, Lu Jin appeared in front of the camp. When many Shenhan lords saw Lu Jin, they immediately became excited. "Boss Lu Jin, can you give me permission?" Lu Jin said nothing, but waved his hand. The next second, Bei Mingxiu suddenly discovered that he could actually set foot on the Silk Road. The other Shenhan lords discovered the situation and immediately began to try. Sure enough, this time they can also set foot on the Silk Road. But then, a series of buff bonuses suddenly appeared around them, and they realized how terrifying the Silk Road was. March acceleration: the marching speed of all troops is increased by 100%. Perfect road: immune to harsh environments, no attack can destroy the Silk Road. Mirage: within the scope of the Silk Road, you will be in an invincible state that cannot be attacked. Commercial value: being within the scope of the Silk Road, the shelf life of all items is extended 10 times. Seeing the series of buffs, everyone was dumbfounded. They have never seen so many buffs in their lives. When Lu Jin came to the military camp, Yao Daji and Shenzuj immediately came over. "I didn't expect that my lord would actually build such a magical road in just a few days. With this Silk Road, we can not only connect various cities and reduce the time it takes to conquer the barbarians, but even after conquering the barbarians, we can also rely on the Silk Road for commercial interactions and completely capture the barbarians in our hands." "That's right. As long as the barbarians can be completely assimilated, the disaster of barbarians will be completely solved." After listening to the bragging of his men, Lu Jin waved his hand. Counting the time, the craftsmen are almost reaching the vicinity of Wuhang King City. At this moment, King Wuhang City was surrounded by all kinds of barbarian soldiers inside and outside. Meng Huo stood on the city wall and looked around. "What's going on? Then why haven't the army of gods passed through the high-temperature desert until now? Could they be lost in the desert? It's been 3 days, and the food and grass in the city have been almost exhausted. How about we take the initiative? What are you anxious about? The army of divine men will definitely not retreat easily. They are more anxious than us in their expedition against the barbarians." At this moment, Meng Huo suddenly saw a group of figures appearing in the distance. "Coming." Many barbarian generals immediately cheered up. Lu Ban glanced at the Wuhang King city not far away and wiped away his sweat. Okay, right here, okay, pour. All the materials have been poured out, right? Then our mission is completed. Get ready and start paving the next section of road." Under the sight of many barbarian generals, Lu Ban led a group of craftsmen to spread some paving materials on the ground. Then the craftsmen changed direction and started laying materials for the next section of the Silk Road. This operation directly confused the barbarian lords on the city wall. "Lord, spend tens of billions of Krypton gold and sign into the god-level arms." Author, Bathing in the Breeze. Chapter 105. Could it be that this is the Han people's advance force? It doesn't look like it, does it? What kind of conspiracy are the Han people playing? No matter what his conspiracy is, just send someone down to investigate. As he spoke, Meng Huo looked at the barbarian lord next to him, and the corners of his mouth raised slightly. Seeing Meng Huo's weird smile, the barbarian lord suddenly felt his heart tighten. Sure enough, in the next second, Meng Huo pointed directly at the barbarian lord. "You go and kill the Shenhan's troops." "I?" The barbaric lord who was pointed out widened his eyes and couldn't believe his ears. "Let yourself go? He is just a small lord with only 1,000 troops under his command. Let yourself take the lead at this time." He looked around and saw that the barbarian lords around him were all retreating, and some of them had gloating smiles in their eyes. However, due to Meng Huo's pressure, the barbarian lord directly led a group of barbarian warriors under him to approach Lu Ban and others. At this time, a craftsman who was paving the road raised his head and happened to see the barbarian troops attacking towards them. "Boss, a barbarian is coming." Come here as soon as you come here. Pave the road quickly and finish the work early. I don't want to stay in this damn place for a moment. Lu Ban didn't even raise his head to look at the barbarian troops, and directly cut open a bag of stones. Tiny pebbles littered the ground. Immediately afterwards, Lu Ban picked up another bag of materials, as if he only had the mission of paving roads in his eyes. Seeing that Lu Ban was not nervous, the other craftsmen looked at each other, lowered their heads and started working. Lord Manhu, who was charging here, couldn't help but feel angry when he saw that these craftsmen did not take him seriously at all. Damn it! Being treated as a standout was already enough to make me feel depressed. These craftsmen actually don't take themselves seriously. How dare ordinary civilians dare to be so arrogant? Suddenly, a black shadow appeared in front of the barbarian lord. Before the barbarian lord could react, his head was directly grasped by an iron hand. The moment he saw clearly who was coming, his head was crushed directly. And the person standing in front of these barbarian soldiers is a yellow turban warrior. The yellow scarf warrior grabbed a handful of stones from the ground. Immediately afterwards, the stones were injected with true energy, and the yellow scarf warrior suddenly threw all the stones in his hand. In an instant, a large number of stones injected with true energy flew out like bullets. Crackling. Following a series of sounds of flesh and blood, the barbarian soldiers couldn't even escape and fell directly to the ground. In less than 5 minutes, the thousands of barbarian troops were completely wiped out by the yellow turban warriors. Meng Huo on the city wall couldn't help but snorted when he saw this scene. No wonder you are so confident, it turns out there are experts protecting you secretly. The cunning Han people just lost 1,000 of my barbaric warriors in vain. Hearing these words, the barbarian lords couldn't help but look at Meng Huo. Didn't you let him go down? But many barbarian lords dared not speak out in anger, for fear that they would be the next to die. At this time, Meng Huo spoke again. Come here and lift up all the materials piled up by the Han people under the city wall. As soon as he finished speaking, many barbarian lords couldn't help but take a few steps back. Seeing this scene, Meng Huo narrowed his eyes slightly. Then, Meng Huo directly named several barbaric lords. You, and you, all get down. As soon as these words came out, the faces of the barbarian lords who were targeted turned pale. Seeing that the barbarian lords were unmoved, Meng Huo stepped forward and grabbed one of the barbarian lords by the neck. The next second, Meng Huo threw him away. Seeing this scene, everyone's hearts tightened. And Meng Huo once again set his sights on them. Should you go down by yourself, or should I send you down? With the lessons learned from the past, how could those barbarian lords dare to resist? They quickly left the city with the barbarian soldiers in their hands. When they came near the pile of materials, they couldn't help but look around carefully. After discovering that no one was guarding here, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, our mission is just to give these materials to Yang, so we don't have to fight against the Shenhan troops. It's such a pity that we raised it. How about we take these materials back to the territory? You boy, that is indeed a good idea. After some discussion, several barbarian lords decided to pocket all the materials on the ground. But just when they reached out to get the materials in front of them suddenly turned into a white light. When the white light dissipated, what lay before them was a beautiful and sturdy silk road. Seeing the silk road, not to mention the barbarian lords in front of them, even Meng Huo and others on the city wall couldn't help but widen their eyes. What's the situation? Those materials turned into roads in an instant? Is this magic? The barbarian lords immediately realized that these materials were probably construction materials, and this road was built by the Shenhan lords. A Shenhan lord directly used gold coins to complete the road construction immediately. However, this road stretches as far as the eye can see. How many gold coins did that divine lord spend to complete the construction of this road? Just thinking about this made them feel numb. Needless to say, the importance of gold coins in Hunyuan continent. Gold coins represent all resources that can enhance strength. As long as you have enough gold coins, even if you are alone, you can become a powerful warlord in a short time. The person on the other side of the road is obviously a strong man with a lot of gold coins. Damn it! There are rich people on the other side of the gods, and they directly completed the construction of the road. So what do we do now? Demolish it? Demolish this road as much as you can. Aren't the dismantled resources still ours? Having said this, the other barbarian lords immediately reacted, and they immediately called on their men to dismantle the Silk Road. And when the iron tools in their hands fell, the Silk Road disappeared like a mirage. Everyone fell directly into the sand. Seeing this scene, Meng Huo on the city wall couldn't help but widen his eyes. What's the situation? Did that road just disappear? Meng Huo suddenly felt a chill on his back, and a bad premonition came into his heart. At this time, a black line appeared on the Silk Road. Immediately afterwards, this black line gradually turned into a black army, rushing towards Wuhan King City. The flag of the Divine Han was flying in the air. Lu Jin took the lead on Mo Kailan, leading the troops behind him along the Silk Road and quickly approaching Wuhan King City. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord, spend tens of billions of Krypton gold and sign into the god-level arms. Author, Bathing in the Breeze. Chapter 106. Coming. The army of Shenhan is coming. Meng Huo, who was on King Wuhang City, looked increasingly excited as he looked at the approaching Shenhan troops. Several clan leaders who were originally standing on the inside of the city wall immediately came closer. When they saw the Shenhan troops, they also became excited. Who is the leader of the army of divine men? It looks like it should be the young man riding the black unicorn. Is it him? Is he the owner of Shenhan's dragon energy? Ha ha ha, he looks like just a pretty boy, but the divine man's dragon energy is so cheap. At this time, Meng Huo took the lead in taking action. He waved his hand, and a barbarian soldier under his command immediately understood. The barbarian soldier picked up the horn on his waist. Woo! The dull sound of trumpets sounded on the city walls. For a moment, everyone felt that the ground began to shake. A large number of barbarian soldiers immediately appeared in the hills on both sides of the city. Seeing this scene, the clan leaders on the city wall couldn't help but widen their eyes. What's the situation? Where did the barbarian soldiers come from? They didn't ambush any soldiers outside the city. But when they saw Meng Huo's triumphant expression, they immediately understood. Meng Huo. What do you mean? Ha ha ha, what do you mean? Our southern barbarians have strong soldiers and horses. I am ambushing some soldiers outside the city. Isn't it normal? Don't you know how to discuss it with us? Discuss? Who am I to discuss with you? I think you just want to swallow the divine dragon energy all by yourself. Ha ha ha, you are right. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of many clan leaders changed. Sure enough. This guy Meng Huo actually wants to monopolize the divine dragon energy. If it weren't for the shaman's reputation, they would have just chopped off Meng Huo's head right now. But now, they can only bite the bullet and send out their own soldiers. If Meng Huo is really allowed to take the lead in killing the leader of the divine men, he will definitely be able to obtain a large amount of dragon energy. With the blessing of dragon energy, it would be even more difficult for them to confront Meng Huo. Thinking of this, many clan leaders shouted, "Open the city gates and attack with the whole army." All of a sudden, all the 4 city gates in the southeast, northwest, and northwest were opened, and countless barbarian soldiers rushed out of King Wuhang City and attacked the army of Shenhan. Lu Jin couldn't help but chuckle as he looked at the barbarian army swarming in front of them like locusts. The charge was unorganized, even worse than the Yellow Turban army. Is this Manhu's army? I'm really disappointed. Hearing these words, Yao Daji was ready to step forward and show off. At this time, Shenzhuj raised his feather fan and stopped Yao Daji, who was about to move. Yao Daji looked at Shenzhuj with some doubts, and saw Shenzhuj's eyes falling on Lu Jin. At this time, Yao Daji found that the true energy in Lu Jin's body began to gather on the top of his head. In an instant, the sky was filled with dark clouds. For a time, thunder clouds condensed, and rolling thunder continued to roll in the thunder clouds. Seeing this scene, many clan leaders on the city wall couldn't help but change their expressions. Thunder clouds? Why did the sky suddenly change? It's true energy. There is true energy in the thunder clouds, and the other side has top counselors on staff. A top strategist? With such a terrifying Genkai Liun, this strategist is at least above the first level. Even Meng Huo couldn't help but change his expression when he saw this scene. At this time, the Goshawk shaman walked up to the city wall. The moment they saw the Goshawk shaman, a glimmer of hope appeared on everyone's faces. It's a shaman. The shaman is here. You know, Goshawk shaman is also a super first level master. As long as he takes action, Lei Yun will not be able to collapse obediently. Goshawk shaman opened his hands, and in an instant, a strong wind rose. God of the Goshawk, grant me strength and protect me, the wild man. Wind blows. Boom. Suddenly, a bolt of thunder suddenly shot out from the thunder cloud. The thunder fell, and a gap was suddenly opened in the city wall. The Goshawk shaman was hit by the thunder and spit out a mouthful of blood. Seeing this scene, Meng Huo and others' eyes widened and they couldn't believe their eyes. What's the situation? Goshawk shaman was struck by thunder? He is a master above the first level, how could he be so embarrassed? For a time, the majestic image of Goshawk shaman was directly shattered in the hearts of many clan leaders as the thunder fell. At this time, the Goshawk shaman was even more shocked. What's the situation? Why was he still shattered by the thunder when he had clearly released the true energy beyond the first level realm? The other party has a cultivation level above the first level. Half-saint? Wrong. Even if he is a semi-saint, he still has the strength to fight, so he won't be in such a mess. Then there is only one possibility. The other party is a strong man in the saint realm. How can it be? According to the rules, strong men in the saint realm cannot be born and walk in the world now. The most you can do is send your own clones to interfere with the course of troubled times. Who is this person? But at this moment, the thunder had already fallen. Rumble. Thousands of thunderbolts fell directly like heavy rain, and the thunder turned into a sea of thunder. Thunder, screams, and the scorching temperature instantly filled the entire Wuhanqing city. When the thunder like a rainstorm dissipated, everyone looked around and saw pitch black, with countless charred corpses scattered on the ground. Snapped. Mo Kailan stepped on the scorched corpse, and the still intact scorched corpse turned into pieces. Everyone's eyes were on Lu Jin again. A thunder from the sky makes barbarians fearful and holy men revere them. At this moment, Lu Jin raised the Xianyuan ancient sword high and pointed at Wuhanqing city. Kill. The moment the sword edge fell, several generals rushed towards the city wall first. Meng Huo and others on the city wall looked at the hell on earth in front of them, and then glanced at the seriously injured Goshawk shaman. Only then did they realize that they had underestimated the stranger. How can a foreigner who can obtain the divine dragon energy be a simple person? Fear washed away desire, causing their sanity to return to the high ground. And at this time, even if they wake up, so what? Husband. You retreat with your personal guards first, and I will come to the rear. Mrs. Zhurong immediately supported Meng Huo, who was about to collapse. Feeling the warmth of Mrs. Zurong's hand, Meng Huo came back to his senses. That's right. If they escape now, they still have a chance to make a comeback. Thinking of this, Meng Huo immediately took Mrs. Zurong's hand. Madam, follow me down the city wall quickly. But at this moment, a graceful figure stood in front of Meng Huo and Mrs. Zurong. Yao Daji held the Xianming fan, with a dangerous hunting gaze in her eyes. The love between husband and wife is really deep, but it's a pity that neither of you can leave today. It looks like you are just a counselor. A counselor enters the field by himself. It seems that your level is not that good either. With that said, Mrs. Zurong picked up the Zhangbo long standard in her hand and pointed it at Yao Daji. Lord, spend tens of billions of Krypton gold and sign into the god-level arms. Author, Bathing in the Breeze. Chapter 107. Haha, your mouth is quite tough. Faced with Mrs. Zurong's provocation, Yao Daji not only did not get angry, but instead looked at Mrs. Zurong with interest. I have long heard that Mrs. Zurong of the Southern Barbarians is brave, resourceful, and a talented person. Now that I see her, Mrs. Zurong's appearance is quite unique. If you can take it for your own use, the Lord may be able to add an exotic beauty to his harem. Seeing Yao Daji's frivolous gaze, Mrs. Zurong suddenly felt uneasy in her heart. After saying half a sentence, Mrs. Zurong raised her hand, and a cold light suddenly appeared. When Yao Daji unfolded her Xianming fan and directly blocked the flying knives from the air. Seeing Yao Daji blocking her attack so lightly, Mrs. Zurong's heart tightened, but she stabbed Yao Daji directly with the 8-foot-long sword in her hand. When there was another crisp sound. Mrs. Zurong looked at Yao Daji with a shocked face, and Yao Daji blocked her attack with only the Xianming fan with one hand. At this moment, many thoughts appeared in Mrs. Zurong's mind. She is a counselor, but she has such a high force value. Wrong. The fan in her hand doesn't seem to be an ordinary weapon. Is this person a general or a counselor? For a moment, Mrs. Zurong felt that the demon in front of her began to become unreal. Oh! With such a shocked look, are you wondering if I am a general disguised as a counselor? As soon as these words came out, Mrs. Zurong was shocked, and a drop of cold sweat broke out on her forehead. But the next second, a huge force burst out from Yao Daji. Being hit by the huge force, Mrs. Zurong couldn't help but take a few steps back. And Yao Daji's whole body spiritual energy burst out, and a 9-tailed fox's true energy appeared behind her. The 9 fox tails were like mist, shrouding Mrs. Zurong in it. At this moment, Mrs. Zurong felt like a small boat without an owner in the sea of true energy, terrified and helpless. I am a counselor, but I am in the first-level realm. It's more than enough to deal with you. Yao Daji's voice seemed to be in the sky at the moment, but also seemed to be in front of you. With a plop, Mrs. Zurong fell to her knees on the ground. Countless pressure surged in, and she felt as if she was about to suffocate. But at this moment, the pressure on her suddenly relaxed a little, and a generous figure came to her side. When Mrs. Zurong saw that familiar figure, her eyes widened and she couldn't believe it. Why are you back? Didn't I let you go? The person coming was none other than Meng Huo. Meng Huo burst out with the aura of a first-class warrior, but at this moment, his violent energy turned into a protective umbrella, covering Mrs. Zurong's body, relieving her pressure. Meng Huo's body was crumbling under the pressure of the true energy, but he still stood in front of Mrs. Zurong, shielding her from the wind and rain. I promised your brother that I will protect you. But now it seems that it may not be possible. The pressure of Genkai suddenly dissipated, and both Meng Huo and Mrs. Zurong fell to their knees. At this time, Yao Da took a few steps back and handed over the final judgment to Lu Jin in front of her. At this moment, Lu Jin was holding a head in his hand. When Meng Huo and Mrs. Zhurong saw this head, their eyes were full of horror. This head was that of the goshawk shaman. Lu Jin raised his hand and threw the head of the goshawk shaman in front of the two of them. The two of them looked around and saw that the entire Wuhan King city was covered in blood. The iron hooves of the Shenhan army trampled on the Wuhan King city without restraint. The entire Wuhan King city was full of screams. "It's time to send you on your way." Lu Jin raised the Xianyuan ancient sword in his hand. But at this moment, Meng Huo suddenly rose up, and Mrs. Zhurong also made a move. But is the counterattack before death useful to Lu Jin? If it was useful, they wouldn't have to kneel down here. Cut! With a swing of the sword, two heads fell to the ground. System announcement: King Wuhang City in the Manhu area has been breached, and the Wuhang clan area will be owned by Shenhan. System announcement: Congratulations to Shenhan Qianlong Town for successfully breaking through Manhu's Wuhang King City, and hereby reward the Golden Legendary Conquest Treasure Box. Ding! Congratulations on successfully killing the key figure Nanman Mengguo, here's the reward, a Golden Legendary Talent Treasure Chest. Ding! Congratulations on successfully killing the key figure Mrs. Nanman Zhurong, here's the reward, a Golden Legendary Exotic Treasure Chest. Ding! Congratulations on successfully killing the key figure Goshawk Puppet, here's the reward, Golden Legendary Puppet Treasure Chest. A series of system prompts sounded. Immediately afterwards, several more Golden Legendary Treasure Chests appeared in Lu Jin's backpack. Lu Jin looked at these treasure boxes and took them all out without any hesitation. Ding! Do you want to spend 100,000 gold coins to upgrade the Golden Legendary Puppet Treasure Chest to the Golden Legendary Taoist Treasure Chest? Upgrade. Ding! Do you want to spend 100,000 gold coins to upgrade the Golden Legendary Talent Treasure Chest to the Golden Legendary General Treasure Chest? Upgrade. There was another series of system prompts, and Lu Jin didn't hesitate at all. All upgraded. The upgraded treasure chest becomes rarer and more precious. Looking at the many Golden Legendary Treasure Chests, Lu Jin made a decisive choice and opened them all. Ding! Congratulations on getting the Golden Legendary Item God Level Self-Selected Talent Recruitment Order. Ding! Congratulations on getting the Golden Legendary Prop Celebration Event Order. Ding! Congratulations on getting the Golden Legendary Item 10 times Conquest Order. A series of system prompts sounded, and Lu Jin took out the God Level Self-Selected Talent Recruitment Order from his backpack. It's been a long time since I met a self-selected talent order. Unexpectedly, this time I actually let myself open one. It just so happens that there are too few counselors in his current camp. Why not see what kind of counselor this self-selected talent order can summon? Use. As the God-level self-selected talent recruitment order was used, a series of talent names appeared in front of Lu Jin. Lu Jin glanced briefly and ignored those talents whose names did not have prefixes. At this time, of course, those with prefixes are stronger. Suddenly, Lu Jin's eyes fell on a name. Ghostfish Suanji, a first-class counselor. Ghost prefix? This couldn't help but make Lu Jin curious. He had never had a talent with a ghost prefix under his command. Among these self-selected talents, there is only one with a ghost prefix. He happens to be the first-class counselor he needs. After some thought, Lu Jin decisively chose to recruit Goyu Suanji. In ancient times, there was Ning Keichin, a man and a ghost who fell in love, but now I, Lu Jin, a man and a ghost are in love. Ding! Congratulations on your successful recruitment of the first-class talent ghost. Fish Suanji. Talents will rush to the Lord as soon as possible to serve the Lord. Lord, spend tens of billions of Krypton gold and sign into the God-level arms. Author, Bathing in the Breeze. Chapter 108. After the recruitment was completed, Lu Jin turned his attention to other rewards. Celebration Event Order. Just by looking at the name, you can tell that it is another event prop. The corners of Lu Jin's mouth rose slightly. It must be said that every acquisition brought huge benefits to Lu Jin. So Lu Jin was really excited about the nature of this celebration order. Name: Celebration Event Order. Quality: Golden Legendary Level. Effect: after use, any activity will be carried out in the territory. During the activity, the territory will receive bonuses to varying degrees. Territorial activities. Lu Jin couldn't help but feel a little disappointed when he saw this. Compared with the 10,000 monsters ceremony and the conquest order that affected the entire region, this celebration order is indeed a bit unsatisfactory. But Lu Jin didn't care too much. Wait until you successfully conquer the barbarian area before using this event item. Just give your subordinates a holiday. Finally, Lu Jin set his sights on the tenfold conquest order. Name: Tenfold Conquest Order. Quality: Golden Legend. Effect: after use, the war points of any war copy will be increased tenfold. Oh! After seeing the effect of this tenfold conquest order, Lu Jin couldn't help but his eyes lit up. Increase the current war points tenfold. Maybe I can use this tenfold conquest order after the task of conquering barbarian who is over. It's hard to imagine that my war points will reach a terrible level by then. After putting away the tenfold conquest order, Lu Jin was in a good mood. At this time, Wuhan King City was almost completely cleaned up. The entire Wuhan King City was in deathly silence, except for the strong smell of blood. Wuhan King City has been completely captured, and all the 5 strongest clan leaders of Manhu have been killed. Next, no one can stop us. Shenzuch waved the feather fan in his hand and spoke confidently. At this time, everyone noticed something was wrong with the enemy. A thick fog suddenly rose, shrouding the entire Wuhan King City in it. In the thick fog, a graceful figure slowly walked out of the fog. I, Yu Suanji, have met my lord. Wearing a white skirt, holding a round fan, her skin is as fair as jade, and she looks frail. This person is the talent Lu Jinggong summoned. Ghost and Fish Mystery. Lu Jin's eyes fell on Yu Suanji, and her attribute panel was displayed directly in front of Lu Jin. Name: Ghost.Yu Suanji. Positioning Advisor, Beauty. Realm Super First Level. Command Value 95. Loyalty 90. Oh! The command value of 95 points is pretty good. At this time, Yao Daji also noticed the beautiful woman who suddenly appeared in front of Lu Jin. He is a counselor just like himself, and he is also in the first level realm. For a moment, Yao Daji felt a sense of crisis. This fog must also be a way for Yu Suanji to show off his strength. Thinking of this, Yao Daji took a step forward and was about to reach out to touch Yu Suanji. But the next second, her palm passed through Yu Suanji's body. Soul body? At this time, everyone discovered that Yu Suanji had no shadow. She stood here under the scorching sun. Seeing this scene, several generals couldn't help but feel a chill in their backs. Even though they were powerful, they still had no way to deal with such an untouchable soul body. Ghost Fish Suanji said apologetically upon seeing this. My lord, I'm sorry. Yao has been weak and sick since she was a child. She had no choice but to transform into a soul body in order to stay in this world. If the master dislikes it, Yao can leave. Speaking of this, Yu Suanji's eyes flashed with a trace of imperceptible sadness. Why doesn't she want to live like a normal person? But unfortunately, fate is fickle, and this is not the outcome she can choose. Lu Jin glanced at Yu Suanji and didn't expect that he could actually summon a ghost to serve as an advisor. This is somewhat strange. Lu Jin smiled and didn't care too much. He waved his hand and said, in Qianlong Town, we don't care about your origin, only your talent. If you are a talented person, you will naturally have a place in Qianlong Town. Hearing these words, a glimmer of light appeared in Yu Suanji's eyes. I am willing to dedicate everything to my lord. After accepting Yu Suanji, Lu Jin added another counselor to his staff. At first, everyone was a little bit unable to accept it. After all, Yu Suanji is a ghost in the true sense, and this is the first time they have seen a real ghost. But they thought of Kuang Ma Chao and others again, and felt relieved again. After all, compared to the usual crazy demon generals, Yu Suanji is not only a beauty, but also a gentle and elegant lady. After some comparison, everyone was happy to accept it. Going north from Wuhan King City, you will reach the deadly swamp known as the first forbidden land of barbarians. After crossing the deadly swamp, we will reach the largest capital city in the entire Manhu, the Manhu Imperial City. Barbarian Imperial City? Lu Jin touched his chin and looked at the crowd. Isn't it said that there are many barbarian clans and they don't obey anyone? So, what's going on with this barbarian imperial city? Each clan refused to obey anyone else and proclaimed themselves kings one after another and established royal cities. And when this Manhu imperial city suddenly appeared among these royal cities, wouldn't any clan leader be dissatisfied with him? Faced with Lu Jin's question, Gui Yuxuanji was the first to speak. I've heard a few rumors about Manhu Imperial City. Manhu Imperial City is divided into two parts, the outer city and the inner city. Only distinguished figures from each clan can enter the outer city after receiving invitations. And no one has ever entered the inner city. Someone once tried to force his way into the inner city, but before he could reach the gate of the inner city, he was strangled by a shaman. Shaman takes action? Oh. Interesting. Lu Jin touched his chin and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. He forced his way into the inner city and was killed by the shaman. Lu Jin now knows very well that these shamans are just puppets driven by someone. And the person who can control the puppet is probably in this inner city. Seeing that Lu Jin was interested, Yu Suanji added again. Nowadays, every clan calls the man in the inner city of Manhu Imperial City Manhu Emperor. There is also a rumor that the barbarian emperor is very fond of Nanman. Now that Nanman can achieve such success, it is indispensable that Emperor Manhu is behind it. Interesting. Barbarian Emperor. Take good care of Nanman. Drive a super first-grade clone and transform into a shaman to guide various clans to unite. Thinking of this, the identity of Emperor Manhu can probably be determined. Saint. The saint of the barbarian area. Due to rule restrictions, he could not leave the inner city of Barbarian Hu and could only drive various clans through shamans. A saint? No, maybe a higher and stronger existence. At this time, Lu Jin was extremely grateful that he was the alien lord. If I were a native of Hunyuan continent, I would probably be restricted by the rules and trapped in that small world. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord, spend tens of billions of Krypton gold and sign into the god-level arms. Author, Bathing in the Breeze. Chapter 109. Let the large army rest in King Wuhang City first. Daji, Lu Buletin, you and I are going to the deadly swamp to check on the progress of the Silk Road. After taking down Wuhang, Lu Jin couldn't take any time off. Coincidentally, the Silk Road from Wuhang King City to Deadly Swamp has just been laid. Go to the Deadly Swamp to investigate the situation yourself. After all, the status of Manhu Imperial City is comparable to that of Shenhan's Luoyang Imperial City. Although Lu Jin was powerful, he never underestimated any of his enemies. He understood that the clan leaders he had dealt with were just a few of the 36 clans. Do the remaining clan leaders have any trump cards, the barbarian emperor from Barbarian Imperial City, and other totem shamans who have not yet come forward? There are still many undeveloped areas in the Manhu area, so Lu Jin dare not slack off at all. With the two of them, Lu Jin ran straight towards the deadly swamp. Not long after, they arrived at the edge of the deadly swamp. A breeze blew in his face, and Lu Jin smelled the rotten smell floating in the air. His eyes fell on the deadly swamp. The entire swamp was covered by dense vegetation, and a large number of puddles were dotted among the grass-like stars. Lu Jin slowly landed on the ground and looked around, his true energy quickly spreading around. In an instant, the entire deadly swamp was enveloped in his true energy. After exploring the situation in the deadly swamp, Lu Jin couldn't help but reveal a meaningful smile. It is rumored that this deadly swamp is ranked among the top 3 among all forbidden places. The deadly swamp cannot be easily noticed by ordinary people. There are also various monsters lurking in the grass. At least tens of thousands of people die in the deadly swamp every year. And the only road that can cross the deadly swamp is guarded by the guards of Manhu Imperial City. Even for a clan leader, it is difficult to enter the Manhu Imperial City. Yao Daji told Lu Jin all the information she had recently obtained about the deadly swamp. Lu Jin just chuckled. Under his true energy exploration, he had already understood the entire situation of the deadly swamp. There is indeed a path across the deadly swamp. But on that road, there were thousands of third-level warriors guarding it, and in the swamps on both sides of the road, there was also a first-level monster lurking. Anyone who wants to forcibly break into the road will end up in despair when faced with this lineup. Lu Jin touched his chin and chuckled. Thanks to the Manhu Imperial City, third-level warriors can easily use it to guard the important roads. But unfortunately, Lu Jin's paving team had no intention of taking that road at all. Lu Ban led everyone to walk in the mire and threw all the materials into the mire. Seeing that the material was swallowed up by the mud in an instant, one of the craftsmen couldn't help scratching his head. "Boss, this material has been swallowed up by the mud, can it still be used?" "Don't worry about so much, we just need to transport the materials to the designated place according to the Lord's wishes, and leave the rest to the Lord." At this moment, one of the craftsman's feet sank, apparently falling into the swamp. His body began to sink slowly. The craftsman was only an 8th-level warrior. He was still unable to master the use of chi, and his body continued to sink. But whether it was the craftsman captured by the swamp or other craftsmen, they seemed to be used to it. The next second, the yellow scarf warrior walked directly in front of the craftsman. As soon as he raised his hand, the craftsman was dragged out by the yellow scarf warrior. The yellow turban warrior has a first-level cultivation level and can easily condense the true energy under his feet. Even on the water, you can still walk on flat ground. This is also the reason why many craftsmen dare to step into the deadly swamp known as the Forbidden Land of Death with ease. With a first-grade warrior as a bodyguard, what else do they have to fear? At this moment, the yellow scarf warrior seemed to feel something, and his eyes suddenly looked towards a bush. Broken. Found. Now that they have been discovered, let's deal with these Han people directly. As soon as he finished speaking, a barbarian warrior suddenly emerged from the grass. The moment they appeared, they attacked directly towards the yellow turban warriors without any hesitation. Whoosh! One of the barbaric warriors raised his hand and threw a flying knife. Another barbaric warrior, with an explosion of true energy all over his body, drew out the scimitar from his waist and slashed directly at the neck of the yellow scarf warrior. When, along with a clear sound of metal collision, the barbaric warrior holding a scimitar felt a numbness in the tiger's mouth. What the hell? The barbarian warrior's eyes widened and he couldn't believe it. He had clearly hit his vital point, but the knife struck the opponent's body like it was striking steel. The yellow scarf warrior raised his hand and pinched the necks of the 2 barbaric warriors. A click. 2 barbaric warriors died immediately. The yellow turban warrior casually threw the 2 of them into a swamp. The swamp swallowed up the body, and soon it disappeared. At this moment, a few miles away, a barbarian warrior's eyes were glowing, and he could easily see the situation of 2 barbarian warriors being crushed several miles away. After the true energy dissipated, the barbarian warrior's eyes returned to their original appearance. First class master. Invulnerable. It looks like it's a bit tricky. Such an existence can only be completely solved by asking the shaman to take action. No matter what, this group of people must not be allowed to enter the scope of Manhu Imperial City. As soon as he finished speaking, the barbarian warrior noticed something was wrong. Why did my colleague suddenly stop talking? When he turned around and looked behind him, Lu and Jin were standing behind him, looking at him with interest. Let's talk about it. Who is your mysterious barbarian emperor? With that said, Lu Jin took a step forward. And the barbarian martial artist found that no matter what, he couldn't move at all. Just like a stick of incense, Lu Jin killed the barbarian warrior in front of him with a wave of his hand. It has to be said that this barbarian warrior has the strength of the second-level realm. Even among the barbarian Hu clan, he can definitely be regarded as a leader. But in Manhu Imperial City, he could only serve as a small scout. There are 10,000 defenders in the Manhu Imperial City, and the 10,000 defenders are all second-grade elites. There is only one guard in the inner city, and no one has ever seen his face. Everyone who has seen the guard in the inner city is dead. Even if many shamans want to step into the inner city, they must obtain the consent of Emperor Manhu. Otherwise, you will only be killed by the inner city guards. For a moment, Lu Jin became even more curious about this mysterious barbarian emperor. Lord, spend tens of billions of Krypton gold and sign into the god-level arms. Author, Bathing in the Breeze. Chapter 110. The shaman clone who has surpassed the first-level realm, and the mysterious inner city guard. By this time, Lu Jin was even more sure. The so-called Manhu Emperor is probably the saint of the Manhu area. Otherwise, he would have already reached the door. He didn't react at all. Lu Jin waved his hand and brought Yao Daji and Molu Buletin back to the camp. When the Silk Road from Wuhang Imperial City to Manhu Imperial City was completed, Lu Jin decisively used gold coins to build the Silk Road. Immediately afterwards, the army of Shenhan moved again and rushed directly towards Manhu's Imperial City. Along the way, many divine lords passed by the deadly swamp. When walking on the Silk Road, there is a deadly swamp full of miasma outside, which makes many divine lords feel incredible. This Silk Road is so amazing that it can be built even in swamp areas. If we use the Silk Road for trade, I don't know how much trouble we can save. But don't you think it's a little too quiet here? It's true. It's rumored that a lot of elite barbarians have been deployed in the deadly swamp area to monitor those who want to sneak into the Imperial City. But we walked all the way, let alone the elite barbarians, there wasn't even a single figure. At this time, Lu Jin also noticed. The barbarian warriors who were originally hiding in the deadly swamp disappeared at this moment. Even the first-grade monster inside the deadly swamp has disappeared. Lu Jin didn't care. He knew very well that this would be the last calm before the storm. After this battle, if he wins, there will be no strong man left to resist his path of conquest. If he loses, the barbarian will be like a dead tree. Thinking of this, Lu Jin no longer hesitated, and the army marched faster. Soon, the army of Shenhan arrived near Manhu Imperial City. Many Shenhan lords couldn't help but sigh when they saw such a huge city that was as towering as a fortress. This is the largest city in the Manhu area, the Manhu Imperial City. It's not so much a city as it is a genuine bunker. On the city wall, a large number of siege crossbows were set up. There is a moat outside the city, and there is a faint aura of powerful monsters emanating from the moat. Looking at the many soldiers on the city wall, Lu Jin directly released his true energy to observe. Then he suddenly discovered that the soldiers on the city wall were all warriors, and the elite among them had reached the level of second-grade warriors. What a barbarian imperial city, with a profound background. Tens of thousands of warriors, thousands of second-grade people. If it were Luoyang, the imperial city of the divine Han dynasty, it would be difficult to garrison the city with so many warriors. but the Manhu imperial city in front of him looked like an indestructible fortress inside and out. It is completely different from the royal city that Lu Jin conquered before. Interesting. The corners of Lu Jin's mouth raised slightly. This was the right thing to do. Only a city like this could give him a desire to conquer. At this moment, the gate of Manhu imperial city suddenly opened. Seeing this scene, many Shenhan lords could not help but murmur. What does it mean? Are the people from Manhu imperial city planning to surrender without a fight? If this is really the case, Manhu's side is too weak. Wait, look, something is coming out from the city gate. What? When the eyes of many lords gathered at the city gate again, they saw war elephants running out of the city gate one after another. Without anyone to ride on them, these war elephants seemed to be going crazy, attacking directly towards the army of divine men. Different from ordinary war elephants, these war elephants have a series of large and small clay pots hanging on their bodies. Seeing the war elephant and seeing these pots, Lu Jin suddenly felt a sense of déjà vu. At this time, Yao Daji stood up directly. Fire the Fire Phoenix siege crossbow. Shoot those war elephants directly. Among the demon army, demon cavalry immediately pushed out hundreds of Fire Phoenix siege crossbows. The arrow is cocked. Aim for the war elephant. Emission. Whoosh. 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 Several arrows made violent noises, and blazing flames burned on the surface. In full view of everyone, an arrow penetrated directly through the body of the war elephant. The frantic war elephant let out a mournful cry and then fell to the ground. As it fell to the ground, the clay pots on it were scattered on the ground. Suddenly, a large number of poisonous insects crawled out of the clay pot. Seeing the poisonous insects crawling in the dark on the ground, goosebumps suddenly appeared on the backs of many divine lords. Lu Jin snorted coldly, but it was still the same trick. Upon seeing this, God Li Mu immediately commanded the red-flamed Gosh Ox in the formation to come out. Hundreds of red-flame Gosh Ox rose into the sky, and then sprayed high-temperature flames towards the poisonous insects. Not long after, those poisonous insects that had just burst out of the jar were all reduced to ashes. Seeing this scene, the barbarian warriors on the city wall raised their siege crossbows and aimed at the red-flamed goshawk in the sky. The poisonous insects are just bait. Their real purpose is to lure the red-flame goshawk into their attack range. Heh, I'm quite prepared. But, so what? At this moment, the demon army has taken the lead to arrive under the city wall. The demon beasts in the moat noticed the arrival of the demon army and immediately launched a surprise attack from the water. A giant black python with the strength of a first-grade monster rushed directly into the camp of the 10,000 monster army, trying to use its huge body to overthrow the entire 10,000 monster army. Unfortunately, it's just one product. The demon cavalry reacted instantly and directly waved their weapons to chop the black python that offended them into pulp. Immediately afterwards, all other monsters, without exception, were killed by the monster cavalry armed with weapons. Lu Jin took a step forward and appeared on the city wall the next second. On the city wall, countless barbaric warriors looked at the sudden appearance of Lu Jin, and they all showed frightened eyes. What's the situation? They didn't see Lu Jin make any move, he just appeared on the city wall so suddenly. At this moment, a shaman wearing a snake bone mask slowly walked out from among the barbarian warriors. The viper shaman took off his mask and drew two scimitars from his back. Seeing the face of the viper shaman in front of him, Lu Jin looked at the viper shaman with interest. Oh! I didn't expect that the routine I said was so similar, so you're not dead yet. No. He is dead, but you, are not him. Lu Jin looked at the viper shaman in front of him as if he were seeing a novel toy. He looked up and down at the viper shaman in front of him. Unlike the shaman he had seen before, the shaman in front of him was not a clone, but a real existence. But this existence had clearly been killed by him before. Lu Jin's eyes fell on the Viper Shaman until he saw the name above the Viper Shaman's head and suddenly realized. Puppet. King Mulu,